Way back in August, Nathan and I predicted where each and every championship team would finish in the EFL Championship. Notoriously difficult to predict, but we predict them all the same. With our scoring system, it's 5 points for an exact position in the table, 3 points if we're one position out, and 1 point if we're two positions out. So Nathan, let's start off with the relegation zone.
Wicked. Before we even get into that as well, we have actually also used a system that a lot of other channels are being used.
Yes.
So for example, if you're 4 places out, you get 4 points, and then the better you do, the lowest points you score. So if you want to see how well we did with that scoring system, make sure to watch to the end of the video, and then you can compare with your other YouTubers and stuff. But
I think what I'll do, will do a video on that as well at a later date.
Yeah, check that out in the coming days. But apart from that, let's start off with bottom of the league, the bottom three. I've got 1 out of 3 this year, so I've had a bit of a stinker. Let's start off with Sheffield Wednesday. Now, they were absolutely doomed under Chancery at the start of the season. I don't know why they removed Darren Moore from his position. Xisco Muniz, in my opinion, was absolutely useless coming into that squad. However, Danny Rohl comes in, absolutely transforms them. They were a below average side, but some of the football they have been playing has been absolutely fantastic, and they need to keep hold of him into next season, or they're going to be going down, aren't they? Plus, they could do with a strong transfer window as well going into next year. Then Rotherham, I had in 23rd position, 1 position out, so I actually get 3 points there. Sheffield Wednesday was miles off with them, wasn't I? They had a dreadful season. Matt Taylor was swiftly sacked at the start. Liam Richardson couldn't get a tune out of that awful squad either, full of League One sludge. He was also binned, which I saw was quite slightly bizarre, where he's pretty good in League One, but they brought back Steve Evans from Stevenage, haven't they? They lost too much quality in both windows apart from that, and I personally think they're going to struggle next season without any investment. Moving on, another one I've got catastrophically wrong. QPR in 22nd to go down. Very surprising. I thought they were doomed at the start of the season because they still had Gareth Ainsworth in charge.
Yeah, but they did start terribly, didn't they?
They did really poor. He was predictably sacked at the end of the day, wasn't he? Cifuentes comes in and just everything changes because they have a good squad down there at QPR, don't they? Ilias Chair was good, Willock was good, Morgan Fox had some good highlights as well. They have a decent squad.
Yeah,
Keep Cifuentes into
Armstrong as well up front is a handful for such a young player as well. So
yeah, he's going to... One correct going down, 3 points. Not bad, is it?
No. Well, I had bottom of the table Rotherham, so that gives me 5 points. An aging squad there, and they're the perennial yo-yo club, so no surprise there. And I had them slap bang in 24th position. Then I had QPR, exactly like you there, Nathan. Yeah. Ainsworth, it surprised me how long they took to get rid of him, really, and once he did go, then they propelled up the table slightly, didn't they? And Sheffield Wednesday had these in 22nd. A lot of people on YouTube and content creators, etc., had these to go down. They brought in Danny Rohl from, I think he started his career at RB Leipzig. Yeah. He's had a few other clubs. So for Sheffield Wednesday, I was 2 places away, so that gets me a point and 6 points overall for the bottom 3. Next up, we go from 21st all the way up to 7th to secure their place in the Championship again next season. And Stoke City, who knew where Stoke City was going to finish this season? I had them in 19th position. They finished 17th, so just a couple of positions out. So we'll get a point there. Where they'll finish next season, who knows? Will they be able to bring in enough players? It remains to be seen. Then our Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn looked doomed until John Eustace came in. He kind of steadied the ship, didn't he? And managed to keep them in the Championship once more. And with Blackburn, I had them 1 position out. They finally finished in 19th position. And then I had a bit of a stinker. Probably, I think this was my worst prediction of the season, which was West Bromwich Albion. I had them finish in 17th position. They made it into the playoffs. I know before February, there were all sorts of problems off the pitch, but then Sheehan Patel and his sort of consortium, I think he heads up the group there, he came in, took over the club from February, and the likes of Daryl DK, Shalabar,
yeah, it's a shame DK's out injured again as
Jed
well.
Wallace, Kipri at the back, who's an absolute rock, Alex Moa and Jonathan Swift. They got a lot of quality in their side, and it sort of shone through in the end. A few ups and downs for them, but ultimately they're in the playoffs, and they could actually go up to the Premier League at the end of the playoffs. But overall there, now I'm on 14 points.
Yeah, looking at my section, I've had an absolute stink here. 21st, I've gone for our team, Cardiff City. Now, main reason I went for this is because of the turmoil over the last few seasons. And long story short, because I didn't trust Vincent Tan, but this year we've had a very up and down season. Probably one of the best seasons we've had since we made it into the playoffs under Neil Harris a few years back. The signings in the summer were absolutely fantastic. We made some decent additions in January as well, with the likes of Ethan Horvath coming in. Superb at the back, isn't he, at the end of the day? We also had Nat Phillips came in, from Liverpool in a partnership with Dimitrios Goutas, which was absolutely fantastic. But we have to give Errol Bullock the contract as soon as possible. The fact that he hasn't been even offered one yet prior to the end of the season is an absolute disgrace. I know there's talks now, but that's absolutely shocking aside from that. Coming into the summer, if we want to push up the league, we've got to get rid of more of the deadwood, which we seem to get every single season, and we have to get a striker in the summer. Anyway, moving on, another stinker, 3 places out.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, really, but not particularly great. Stoke City. Now, this was another typical disappointing season for Stoke. They binned Alex Neil for Stephen Schumacher from Plymouth, didn't they? Plus, not only that as well, I thought they were extremely poor between November and the end of February, where they had that absolutely diabolical run, shoving them in a relegation battle. But they picked up well and stayed up at the end of the day, but they need a strong summer desperately this year. Anyway, 19th, another stinker, 4 places out, Huddersfield Town. They ended up getting relegated, didn't they? It's been coming for a few seasons, let's be fair. They're a club in managed decline at the moment. Neil Warnock departed at the start of the season after basically no backing in the summer. Darren Moore had about 4 months and then was also binned in January. And then they brought in Bretton Reitner. I don't know how to say his name, unfortunately. But it was too little too late, wasn't it? They're going to be raided in the summer, and I personally think they're going to struggle next year. I can't see the likes of Koroma and Nichols staying. They're going to be swept by championship clubs, and probably the likes of Danny Ward as well. So
Zorba Thomas, I expect he'll be back in the championship as well. So
yeah, not looking great there for the Terriers, is it? Anyway, in 18th, I had Plymouth. Thought they'd have a fairly strong season. Good manager under Schumacher, and the likes of Morgan Whittaker as well, who scored loads of goals this season. I was correct on that front, but he obviously then goes over to Stoke, doesn't he? It was ultimately their home form that kept him up at the start and sort of at the end of the season. And I don't know why they kept hold of Ian Foster for so long. That was just absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that's another 3 places out. And then in 17th, I'll take credit for this one. Watford, I thought they'd have a fairly stagnated season. 2 places out. They actually finished 15th, didn't they? They had quite patchy form, didn't they? And Valerian Ismail, majority of the season with a regressed side from the last couple of years. Star quality hasn't been replaced at all. He went in March and Tom Cleverley comes in, obviously his first managerial job. We're seeing a lot of a lack of ambition coming in from the positives, aren't we? So in that section, just the 1 point there. Anyway, moving on to 16th to 12th. Next up in 16th, I had Swansea City. Now, I was only 2 positions out from them, so I get another point there. So that's a fairly decent prediction from our aspect, even with the bias that comes in there, isn't it? Obviously, I had Michael Duff at the start of the season. They had an absolutely shocking start, and it took them 8 games to actually get their first victory on the table as well. Then he had a bit of a good run and then ultimately binned for another hipster manager in Luke Williams. They had a good January window, to be fair to him, and Ronaldo and Plachetta look amazing on the wings coming into next season.
A bit inconsistent, but yeah, really quick, aren't they?
Yeah, just rapid, but they'll build well into next season. Still a bit 50-50 on Luke Williams, though, with the style of play and etc. Everyone knows my opinion on that. And then we've got another stinker, another 9 places out, Norwich City. Now Norwich ultimately making it into the playoffs. Quite a surprising season, I thought, under David Wagner they had. They had a shocking start as well, but second half of the season kept them into the playoffs at the end of the day. To be honest, with the squad they have, they met expectations of where they should be. To be honest, I don't think they would have made it if they would have been David Wagner a few months back. But aside from that, moving on up 1 place, Birmingham City, another stinker. Amazing summer they had under John Eustace. 8 positions out, ended up getting relegated, didn't they? In my opinion, that was the absolute worst sacking in Championship history. Bring in Wayne Rooney. He didn't suit their style and he lost the dressing room very quickly. Then in comes Tony Mowbray, of course. He had to leave, or he had to step aside for ill health, didn't he? And then Gary Rowett, who their old owners binned a few years back. Well, it was just too little too late for them, wasn't it? And they finally see into League One. But I'm 50-50 on them because they got a lot of great players there and sort of fixed off the pitch. However, they're going to lose all their star quality.
Yeah, like Jordan James, he'd probably be back in the Championship or even the Premier League.
Yeah, Jordan James, he should be Premier League lower end minimum. But the likes of Ethan Laird as well, another great player. Stansfield up front, he's been awesome this season. And the likes of Dion Sanderson as well. The amount of assets they could be losing is absolutely shocking, to be honest. Anyway, 1 up to 6th, Blackburn Rovers. way out on that one. They had a really poor season, didn't they? But when you lose the likes of Ben Brereton, Diaz and Adam Morton, you're absolutely finished aside from that. John Eustace coming in, he has a big rebuild in the summer, doesn't he? But the player who did keep them up in the end was Sammy Schmodix, the championship striker of the season, wasn't he? Pretty much got the golden boot, and if they didn't have his goals, they would have been relegated to League One, wouldn't they? And then Bristol City in 12th position, only one place out, so I'll take that one. Nigel Pearson has finally gone. Liam Manning comes in for a fairly patchy season. They had some quite poor runs with an okay squad, but investment's desperately needed there. At the end of the day, Lansdowne's got to put some money in, which he's refused to do since the mass spending like around 2020 when they tried to get in the Premier League and failed. So picked up a few points there. Not bad, to be honest, up to 8 points now.
Okay, so my 16th for Birmingham City, as you said, Wayne Rooney coming in really stifled their system, actually destroyed it, didn't they? And they ended up paying the price and going down in the end. In 15th, I had Watford, which was bang on the money. I was to and fro with this one at the start of the season, but absolutely fantastic. So that's the second of my perfects there. Then I had Swansea City, again in 14th position, bang on the money with that one. I think that's the second year on the trot that I've had Swansea predicted where they'd come out. They had some really good runs, a bit inconsistent at times. Games that you'd thought they'd lose, they'd win or get a draw. And games you thought, they're going to win this one, they'd get stuffed. But with that one, bang on the money. Then came Cardiff City. A lot of people had Cardiff being relegated, content creators and the press, etc. But I saw there with the new manager, and so even though Cardiff were under a transfer embargo, I thought we'd be an improvement on the previous season. So I was just the one position out there. When they finished in 12th, I had them in 13th. And then we had the Wurzels finishing in 12th position. They actually finished in 11th, so I get 3 points for that one. So for that section, I thought I did really well, which puts me currently on 30 points. And Nathan, you're on 8 points.
Shocking.
Next up, we go from 11th position up to 7th, just outside the playoff zone. So in 11th position, I had Hull City, just 4 positions out with that one. Hull recruited really well throughout the season, in the summer and in the January transfer window. A lot of quality. Maybe strength-wise, the know-how in the Championship didn't get them over the line in the end. And losing that match away at Plymouth on the final day of the season, you can see their frailties there with their Championship know-how, but they do have quality in their side. Then we have Norwich City, 4 positions out on this one. A little bit low for me, that one, Norwich, but Norwich did well to get in the playoffs, so no points there. Preston North End, possibly with Bristol City. A lot of people saying probably one of the boringest sides in the division. They're always there, but it's sort of mid-table, pushing the playoffs, but never ever quite getting there, are they? Just the one position out for me, so 3 points there. Then we have Ipswich Town in 8th position. We all know about Ipswich on how well they do. Some real exciting players going forward. They can score goals. At times they can concede and get a little bit found out, but they did really well this season to get automatic promotion. So I was 6 positions out there. Then I had Leeds United. I thought they capitulate, but they did bring a lot of good.
Leeds are falling apart again.
They did miss out again. The Welsh contingent did really well. They kept hold of the likes of Nanto, which was good. Patrick Bamford, although he was injured for a large part of the season, came back and scored goals, which put them in 3rd position overall. But for me, I had them in 7th position, 4 positions out.
Yeah, moving on from my 11th to 7th, I had West Brom in 11th, 6 positions out on there, so not particularly great, but a lot higher than, for example, you've had them, to be fair. So
a lot of content creators as well.
They did, but despite their off-the-pitch problems at the start of the season, I thought they were going to have an excellent one. Pretty much Carlos Corberán, really rate him as a manager, and the likes of Cedric Kipre, who's been fantastic, Alex Mowat, Diane Garner's been decent as well, and Brandon Thomas Asante I've really liked as well. So, and to be honest, I think they're going to be my playoff winners coming into it. But anyway, moving swiftly on, Preston, bang on the money. There's my first 5 points of the video. Now with Preston, who remembers when they were top of the league at the start of the season?
They were.
That ridiculous run as well, but I don't know what happened between October and December.
Nosebleed.
Complete nosebleed, and if they would have had a decent run there, they would have easily been in the playoffs. But Ryan Lowe needs to turn it round in the summer for me, aside from that. Anyway, moving on, 9th position, Ipswich Town, bit of a stinker there with 7 places out, but fair play to Ipswich. The momentum carried through consistently in the top 2 all season. Likes of Lee Davis, Wolfenden, fantastic. Connor Chaplin, Hurst, and then adding Keeper Moore with more goals in January. Absolutely fantastic and well deserved.
And you got Burns and Broadhead as well.
Yeah, the Sanafan Cafu, of course. What an absolute baller he is. But moving on, aside from that, bit of a stinker with Millwall, 5 positions out. Neil Harris coming back and had an amazing run at the end of the season, didn't they? After, I don't even know what happened for the first half of this year with them, but yeah, they got something to build on, haven't they, Millwall? And then another perfect prediction in Hull City. I knew they were going to have a good season, but just couldn't quite get it over the line. Really rate Liam Rossini as a manager. However, now, if they want to push into the playoffs next year, which I think they will, they've got to keep their key assets. For example, Jaden Philogene, who we know is absolutely fantastic. And if they can get to Lapdol loan again, then he'll be fantastic.
So that puts you on 18 points and I'm now on 33. So playoffs, Nathan, how'd you get on there?
In 6th position, I had Southampton 2 positions out, so to be fair, I'll take that one. They had an excellent run around October and mid-February, didn't they, which pretty much cemented them in the playoffs. But they had some horrendous defeats where they just couldn't hit a barn door, couldn't they? Or defend anything, which cost them the automatic spots. In my personal opinion, they did underachieve with that squad. And I think that is because of the result of Russell Martin's style of play. So, and not only that as well, when you're coming into the playoffs with a really poor run of form, that is fairly concerning, isn't it? Then I had Coventry City 4 positions out as well. There's another solid season under Mark Robbins. The additions were okay with Sakamoto and Ellis Sims coming in, but they didn't replace the likes of Yorkeres, etc., did they, unfortunately?
Well, Sims, but he started off quite slowly.
Really slow.
But then he did grow into the team and he started to put them away, didn't he?
He did, plus not only that, their FA Cup run, fantastic as well into the semis. But unfortunately, that did cause a poor run of form because of the fixture congestion, I think. So, bit gutted for Coventry. If they didn't have the FA Cup run, probably could have made the playoffs, but who knows aside from that. And then in 4th, had Leeds United 1 position out. They actually finished 3rd. I predict the playoffs. They were in contention, weren't they, for automatics aside from that, until the disaster at the end of the season.
Biggest one in this predictions video, I think.
Massively. Yeah, they were in contention until that disaster that they had at the end of the season, and their very poor performances dotted here and there cost them the automatics, didn't they? So Leeds are falling apart again. And now we have the worst prediction of the whole video. Sunderland in 3rd, 13 positions out. That is absolutely shocking. What a disastrous season for them. The Mowbray sacking was a tad weird, wasn't it? And then they brought in the absolute meme that was Michael Beale coming down from Rangers, he was absolutely awful at the end of that tenure, and that run was just a meme at Sunderland, wasn't it? 5 wins in 2024 sums it all. And yeah, the likes of Diallo and Sims not replaced from last year, so typical Sunderland meme season, wasn't it? Finishing in 16th.
So my playoff positions are as follows. I had Millwall in 6th position, which was 7 positions out, so 0 there. Neil Harris kind of turning things around when they looked a little bit doomed at times. And now Coventry, as you say, their FA Cup run probably had a hindrance on where they finished at the end of the season. They had an absolute terrible end to the campaign as well. I can't remember, was it something like 6 games on the trot or 6 games without a win at the end of the season, and 5 of those with defeat, so 4 positions out there. In 4th position, like you, Nathan, an absolute humdinger this one was Sunderland, 12 positions out, a lot of youngsters in that Sunderland side and squad, etc. So maybe a couple of older heads in the summer and they could push up the table again. In 3rd position, I had Southampton, just the 1 position out here, so I do get 3 points for this one. Saints or Southampton had a really good season, especially in that middle to latter half. They put a lot of wins together, which propelled them up the table, and a little bit unfortunate not to get, you could say, in the autos at the end of the season, but Ipswich did really well. And talking about Ipswich, on to our automatic promotion pairing. In 2nd position, I think a lot of people had this. I had Middlesbrough, which was 6 positions out, so no points for that.
Disastrous.
It was a bit, with what they did last season, a little bit probably disappointing that they didn't at least get a playoff berth this season. And in 1st position, like a lot of people. Leicester City had 5 points for that one because I did predict Leicester to finish at the top of the table. Like a lot of people, they were fantastic and thoroughly deserved the title of Championship champions at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually had the same top two as you this year. And saying that, I always put Middlesbrough in second, like every single season.
I think I did last year as well.
In and out, yeah. I don't know what it is with them, but they didn't build on the start that they had under Carrick last year, did they? They had a poor start themselves and they didn't recover really at all until the end. I think the loss of Chuba in particular from last season cost them. But
to Ajax.
Yeah, to Ajax as well. And his replacement Laff really does look quality. It just needs to bed in properly. But they should be thereabouts next season. And then Leicester, another perfect score there. I had them to win the league, didn't I? They had an amazing start, but Enzo Maresca was worked out on the odd occasion, wasn't he, with some really drab performances. Mavididi and Fatawu, what signings they were at this level, and Harry Winks as well in midfield.
Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, Dewsbury Hall was fantastic. The defence was fantastic as well, and yeah, what a title win for Leicester this year.
Superb. So, the final scores on the door for our predictions in our method is I've got 41 points, Nathan. You've got 27. How that compares to last season, well, I'm 17 points up because last season I had 24 points, and you're 13 points up because last season you had 14 points.
So stinker last
41
year.
to me, 27 to you. With the other scoring system, Nathan, you had 100 points, where it goes on position in the table and how many positions out there were, and I came away with 82 points, which so far, from what I've seen from other contenders,
I haven't actually seen anyone who's been below that yet, but we need to watch more videos.
Yeah, I'm going to watch a lot more videos there, but 82, that's sort of the benchmark for the planet at the moment, but we'll check on that, and maybe we'll bring out another video comparing our points with YouTubers, podcasters, people on Twitter, etc. Pundits. Yeah, we'll see how that gets on. But it's been an enjoyable championship season, probably one of the best I can remember. Congratulations to the likes of Leicester and Ipswich, and commiserations to the Yo-Yo Club, Rotherham, Huddersfield Town, and Birmingham, surprisingly.
Yeah, first time in over 30 years they've been in League One. That's really...
So once again, thanks for joining us this season and for your support throughout the season. And we'll see you all in the next video.